up, my wizards? Dev in the place. We have decks. Here's a thing here, in fact. This is Naya Burns right here. Yeah, it turns out a lot like a mono-red burn deck. We're splashing one card from white in the main, one card from green in the main, because we're about to lose Lightning Strike and Stoke the Flames. Two pretty seriously stinking important cards. So how do we best mitigate that? I have a way. 16 creatures in this burn deck, yeah, but that's mostly because prowess is in the format, and there's two other creatures that just have to be in burn decks that play these colors. So you probably already figured them all out. Here's 4 copies of Monastery Swiftspear and 4 copies of Abbot of Keral Keep. Starting to look an awful lot like mono-red aggro already. I understand that. But these two creatures are absolutely vital to any burn strategy we want to play in Standard. And Swiftspear is vital to burn strategies in Modern and Legacy. She's going to be around forever. She's here to stay. I don't know about Abbot, but he's really good in Standard right now and perfect in this thing. We're playing 4 copies of Soulfire Grandmaster. Again, I don't really think there's any explanation needed here. We are a burn deck. We have the lands for white, and we should cast this. The only white card in the main deck. We are playing white cards in the sideboard, which I don't believe we can say for green. We only have the 1 green card in the entire 75, but this is absolutely necessary and helps us get in some neat little loops, gives us a long game, yada yada. I mean, Soulfire Grandmaster has to go in the deck. And here's the one that's going to need some explaining just because of the number of copies I'm playing of the lady. This is 4 playset copies of Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. Now, here's the thing, comments section, which I understand if you have a problem with that. Yeah, legend rule aside, we need all 4 copies of Chandra. I mean, this is the deck for Chandra, if there ever was a deck. And she's a lightning rod, you know, she's in wild slash range, she's in roast range, obviously everything is, but she's low to the ground. Ultimate price, she gets killed by Hero's Downfall or Ruinous Path, depending on when you're watching this video. We need to see Chandra as much as possible, and she's not completely dead. If we can flip the Chandra that's on the board, we can play the Chandra that's in our hand. Not to mention, this is the Planeswalker that will most often, I think, in Standard, die to her ultimate. You know, you're going to activate her ultimate as soon as you get it. That wipes her out. You can play your other Chandra that you've been sitting on. But of course, you can always deal, again, a few damage with a Chandra creature version while there's a Chandra Planeswalker version on the battlefield. Go ahead and activate the Planeswalker, you know, to do something with her loyalty, and then, you know, flip the Chandra that's a creature, and you get another Planeswalker activation. So, lots of cool tricks. I think we should play a full playset of Chandra. Legend rule aside, the card is very, very good. The deck is made for her. 21 spells here in this burn thing. It is a burn deck, sure, through and through. 4 copies of Wild Slash and 1 copy of Fiery Impulse in the main deck. Wild Slash serves double duty, taking care of small creatures in the early game and dealing damage to the face and activating prowess for our dudes. So, we have to play Wild Slash. Same thing with Fiery Impulse. Really helps us clear the way, and we'll almost always get Spell Mastery after like the 2nd turn. So yes. 1 copy and 1 copy only, although I wouldn't mind upping them, of Collateral Damage. This card takes a lot of flack from some players. Other players like it. But all in all, it takes more flack than it takes, you know, positivity and praise. But I like Collateral Damage, especially in a deck that plays tokens and stuff like that. The card has been very good for dealing, you know, a flash 3 damage out of nowhere. And not only that, but activating prowess on our guys, you know, we can, you know, it's Soulfire Grandmaster likes to make this lifelink. And we can buy it back, which is kind of cool. And Chandra, you know, this helps her flip. And there's no reason, I don't think, not to play Collateral Damage. It's been fine as a one-of because we are playing token generators in Dragon Fodder. 4 copies of Dragon Fodder. Actually, that is how you segue. Yeah, I was sort of hesitant about Dragon Fodder at first. You know, this went through a lot of iterations. 3 Dragon Fodder, 2 Hordeling Outbursts, went down to 1 Outburst, cut it to 0 in the end, and just played a full playset of Dragon Fodder because it's very low on the curve, which is exactly where we want to be. And this is really good early game, you know, blockers and stuff like that, so that we don't have to waste our burn on creatures. We can just chump block and race the clock. Also, this helps flip Chandra. It's red spells. They don't have to deal damage to the opponent or anything, so red spells. This helps flip Chandra. And, you know, it's just good to have creatures on the board so that we can chump block. It's a big thing, you know. If we have guys on the ground to chump block that aren't important to us, like Soulfire Grandmaster, for instance, then it really helps us deal our damage to the dome rather than concentrating on smaller creatures, emptying our hands that way. That's kind of not where we want to be. 3 copies of Roast in the main deck. It was 2 for a lot of the deck's lifespan, but we need to kill the Rhino. We absolutely need to kill Siege Rhino, and Roast is the thing that does that the most efficiently, and we don't get 2 for 1 in the deal, you know, having to spend 2 burn spells to kill a Rhino. But we just have to do it. We have to kill Siege Rhino. I can't stress that enough. The card is devastating against us, even when they just play it. They don't have to swing with it or anything. That 3 damage, or that 6 life point swing is awful for us, and the Rhino is one of the biggest problems for the deck in the entire format. We have got to be able to take it down, and Roast is the thing that does it for us. One copy, just one copy, of Twinbolt here. I really, really like Twinbolt. This can take out, Hangerback Walker tokens that are left behind and other Thopters. This will be able to take out Eldrazi tokens, that's kind of cool. Probably on your turn. They'll still sacrifice it for the mana, but they might not be able to do anything with it. Twinbolt can also kill one of their guys and hit them for a damage. In a pinch, it's 2 damage to them for 2 mana, which is as good as we can do right now for 2 mana with what we know about BFZ. But Twinbolt, I actually thought about making it more copies. I do like Twinbolt a little more than I thought, and I was hoping it was good, and I was rooting for it. Turns out it's pretty good. There are times we can kill 2 guys with this, especially since Hangerback Walker is such a huge card in Standard right now. Really, really like the thing. 4 copies of the only green card in the deck. This is Atarka's Command. Yeah, 4 copies of Atarka Command is crazy. We get to choose 2 of them, and they're most awfully deal 3 damage to the dome, but all of our guys get +1/+1 in reach, for whatever reason, give them reach. Which is fine against some decks, but not all. Again, Thopters, that's pretty cool if they're swinging in. We can surprise Atarka's Command. That's nice. Against other decks that want to gain life, this is just fine. It's a skull crack a lot of the time. And this is +2/+2 for our prowess guys, too. That's pretty awesome, Makes our tokens 2/2s. We can swing in with them, the Dragon Fodder tokens. So, and this survives, this helps our, say, Chandra survive Wild Slash, helps Soulfire Grandmaster survive Wild Slash as well. So, a lot of good things about Atarka's Command. Usually we're going to be dealing 3 damage to the face and something else. Have dropped a land with this a couple of times, You can Atarka's Command, drop a land, Wild Slash, It's not bad. Lots and lots of options with this, and it works really, really well in a burn deck that also plays creatures, and creatures with prowess at that. I have been very impressed with Atarka's Command's performance. And to finish off the spells here, main deck, there's 3 copies of Exquisite Firecraft. It doesn't kill Siege Rhino, which is kind of terrible, but it kills a lot of the other important things at sorcery speed. I know, whatever. This is still very, very good. 4 damage to the face a lot of the time is awesome and will help finish the game, This is the burn spell that you're digging for late game when you just need to deal that last 3 or 4 damage. Especially considering we don't have Lightning Strike anymore. You're mostly digging for Atarka's Command and this right here, because 4 damage to the face is often more than enough to finish off the game very, very late. And here's the lands, probably the biggest bugaboo about the entire deck. This will be made much, much better once we get the Tango lands, once we enter BFZ. Those would be very good, especially considering their basic lands types, and we can fetch them up, especially even at the end of their turn. That's kind of cool. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we can do. There goes Mario! No, Mario! And here's the sideboard, probably the most versatile thing about the deck. We have tools against a lot of stuff, but we still take a hit when it goes into game 2 and 3, A lot of boards do very, very well against us, and we're just trying to address threats that we have issues with. There's some special things in here, you see the mountain, that goes along with the Magmatic Insight if we want to go longer, and the Molten Vortex, which has been very, very good out of the sideboard against especially control decks. It's a guaranteed way to get damage through. We don't have to cast spells to do it. And decks that go long, a lot of there's nothing worse than drawing a land when you're playing aggro that you don't need. So Molten Vortex really helps mitigate that, and the one-of copy of Magmatic Insight. But if we want to do all that, we might want to add the other mountain. Here are the power rankings for this deck, and I believe in these power rankings. I stand by them, man. A 65 when all's said and done there, which is a very, very good score. I think by a couple of points the highest score we've done in a while here. And the deck performs that way. Of course, it has its problems. The biggest problem being Abzan, which is what hurts the versatility score so much. Abzan is probably the most played deck in this format right this second, and will be as long as Siege Rhino and Abzan Charm, especially Siege Rhino, are in the format. And Siege Rhino is the biggest problem the deck has. So we have to be able to take care of that. And that's the only thing that really hurts us in the versatility department. We've got to be able to take care of Rhino, and oftentimes we can. It's just, do we win the race ultimately? We can take care of the Rhino, but is he too much of a setback for us in the meantime? Too much of a speed bump for us to finish the game out? That's a problem. And Abzan's going to be a thing for a while. So that's the only thing that really hurts the deck, is its performance against Abzan, which only gets marginally better post-boards. But maybe you guys will have some ideas in the board to finish that. Maybe the 4th row should be in the board, even with the Valorous Stances. But the only other thing I really wanted to address here is the consistency rating. The consistency would be much higher if the land base was a little bit more solid. It's slightly shaky the way it is now. You can tell we've only got 7 or 8 sources for white and green right now, and we're sort of very, very heavily slanted towards red sources, which is reflected in the build of the deck, yes, and we only need 1 white mana. or 1 green mana to do the things we need to do. But sometimes it either hinders our ability to get red mana, or if we don't have, the green mana we need for a target's command all game, we're hunting for it. And that really is a terrible feeling. So I think that's going to be made much, much better in just a month now when BFZ comes out. The consistency rating will get better. So the deck only stands to get better, I think, depending on what we get. Obviously, there's going to be huge Eldrazi and stuff like that. I think the format might actually get way bigger. So a deck like this might be okay, or it might be crushed. We have no idea. It could go way up under all the things those decks are doing, and gain a ton of life with Soulfire Grandmaster in the process, and Seeker of the Way out of the sideboard, and really put us way ahead of all these big ramp decks. But this is all speculation for now. I have tested it against one thing that I've been building for BFZ, but I'm not going to talk about that deck anymore until after BFZ is fully spoiled, but I'll get there. That's all I've got for now for this deck. If you can't tell, I'm very excited about this deck. I have had a blast playing it. I am a mono red or burn player at heart. I was a control player, by the way, a little information about me. I was a control player for a decade. For like 3 years I was terrible at the game, and I started getting better. I was a combo player for a year. I was a control player for the majority of my Magic lifespan. Now the last, maybe 7 or 8 years, I've been drifting towards mono, or not mono, but aggro. I really, really like playing aggro with a lot of action, a lot of decision making, which people don't give it enough credit for, by the way. There's a lot of decision making in aggro. There absolutely is. And it's a really fun deck to play, so I've been drifting towards that. And I really, at the core of my being, love playing this deck. You've always got an option, you've always got something that you're digging for, which is a cool feeling when you're playing. So you can't tell, I'm all smiles, and I'm out of words because I can't express how much I like the deck. I really, really enjoyed it. And I've tried to, even saying that, I've tried to be as objective as possible with the power rankings. But I like the deck a lot. Hope you do too. Next, we are going to do a thing. Probably mono black aggro, or just mono black. I've got like 3 different ideas, so I might do a triple deck tech for that, 3-in-1 video. We'll have to see how you guys feel about that. But so many different cool things we can do with a budget mono black deck in this format that I might just be like, I like this, and this, and this, and this. There's a lot of options. So yeah, I'll be doing that next. Hope you guys are excited. I had a lot of people tell me I should do mono black. So you guys are going to get your day soon. I'm Dev from SBMTG. If you enjoyed the content, please do this for us. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We're trying to grow even more than we have lately, which is a lot. We're trying to be, one of the Magic channels on YouTube. You guys can help us out a lot with that, so please do. Again, I'm Dev from SBMTG. Thank you, sincerely, thank you for watching, my wizards.